I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Madi Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, action! All right, welcome everyone. We have a very special episode of Park Pals. This is The Treaty, and we are welcoming our friend and friend of the pod, Kris Carr.
Hey everybody. Thanks, Halls.
Yay! Oh my gosh, so exciting. I was going to say if you've been listening to Strike Pod, you know her voice, but I don't know when the fuck this one will come out, so we'll see what happens.
Time is just a weird construct right now.
I know, dude. Nothing makes sense. Also, the writers did meet. So, like I told you, I am pessimistic, but that's because September is stupid and I have a pessimistic outlook on everything.
I mean, now I do. Now my tune has changed.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I want them to prove me wrong, like I said, you know?
I hope so.
Anyhow, okay. The thing that I was going to tell you is that we got quite a bit of voice memos from people and some really great like behind the scenes information from people. So I'm super stoked to get into that. Woo! Okay. Well, let me just go ahead and get this started. So we are on The Treaty, Season 4, Episode 7. This was written by our guy, Harris Whittles.
Oh, Harris.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah.
We've talked about him so much on the podcast, so I don't really feel like I need to go into crazy detail. But I just love that he invented the phrase humble brag.
It's a good one.
That's my most favorite thing. And then this was directed by Jorma Taccone, who was in The Lonely Island.
Yes.
Crazy. You've also seen him on Girls, Hot Rod, Popstar, all the Lonely Island dude stuff. And he also plays the dude in Parks who runs the futuristic company in Parks that saves Pawnee essentially at the end of the series. And one of my favorite lines is, "Paper, whoa, throwback." Love that. Also, he directs he directs another episode in Parks in season 6 as well. So we'll see him again. He's a writer, director, producer. Also, did you know he directed MacGruber, the TV series?
Yeah, he directs a lot. Wow. Which is so funny to me because I love him in Hot Rod so much. I love Hot Rod more than I think I should. That movie is so freaking funny to me. And I think he's just so hilarious and precious in it.
Me too.
Love him.
Oh my God. He is so cute in it. That's actually a really good point. And in Girls, he plays such a different character than anything he's ever played before. It's so creepy and weird in some spots.
Agreed. It's a shift.
God. Okay. A couple things before we get into this episode. Well, this is a part of this episode, but it's not like step by step like I usually do. I did a little bit of a deep dive, and by little bit, I might mean a lot of it, on the history of the Model UN.
What? You did a deep dive? What?
Well, it's so unlike me.
That's so weird.
Okay, first of all, did you have Model UN / do Model UN?
We had it. I did not do it.
I don't think I even had it at my school.
Oh, interesting.
So, but I learned that Model UN I thought it was just high school, but it also goes to college, and there's some in middle schools as well. So I guess it just depends on who has the program.
I guess. I've never seen the appeal of wanting to try to figure out as a child how to tackle the world's problems. And I'm sure
like
that
Ron?
Says, yeah.
A global government and it's good? What?
Yeah. I was much more on that page when Ron says that line. I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's so interesting. Well, okay. We'll talk about it. First of all, okay, you guys know that this is based on the United Nations, which if you don't know, I hope that you do. But if you don't, we're all learning. It's fine. So the UN was established after World War II with the aim of preventing future world wars. And it came after something called the League of Nations. So the League of Nations was first, which I had no idea, but it was ineffective. was the consensus. So they started something new. And just as a Wikipedia this is off their website, not Wikipedia. However, just as a little, what was I thinking? Dictionary. Just as a dictionary definition, the United Nations is an intergovernmental organization that serves to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and serve as a center for harmonizing the actions of nations.
Oh, what a good read, Holly.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
I would love
so
to be the voice of the United Nations.
You know what? And that's what would stop wars. Get on it, UN.
Come on. I think that is a really great way of narrowing it down as opposed to how confusing and crazy it actually is with all of these nations trying to work together. But the point is that it's meant to be a peaceful thing. It's supposed to stop wars, literally. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't know where they are with Ukraine. Maybe Ukraine/Russia. Is Russia? Oh, shit. I should have looked that up. I don't think every nation is in it, which is why there's some shit going down. But anyway, okay, so first off, Model UN started as Model League of Nations, which is, like I said, League of Nations was first. Then they changed it to Model UN. And it does exactly what this episode is about, finding ways to create and maintain humanity and peace in our world by coming together, figuring out solutions. And it started in the early 1920s. And it goes, did I say this? It goes also from elementary school to colleges.
Elementary school kids do
Who is doing that? I don't know.
Teach them young. Let's go.
Teach them young. Okay. But it's really interesting because it seems that the actual UN doesn't actually affiliate itself with the Model UN. This was actually started, you don't have to register or anything. Like, I was comparing this because for Pawnee Rangers, I did a deep dive on Girl Scouts. And with Girl Scouts, you do have to kind of register with the national board and whatever the hell. But as far as organizing Model UN, you don't really have to do that. There are speakers from the actual UN that you can ask to come to your committee, but the making/creating of an actual branch or your own school or whatever, it's really up to you, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You would think that they would have maybe they do. I didn't do that deep of a dive as if I was gonna start my own, but you would think that they would have a syllabus or kind of a thing that they want you to follow, but maybe someone else did that.
Perhaps. Just to jump in real quick, Russia is one of the 5 permanent members of the UN. And back in February, Time did an op-ed piece about how they did not deserve that piece in the UN or that role in the UN. So there's
Great
some contention
Googling,
there.
Kris.
Thank you.
Love that information. Okay.
I do what I can.
Yes, please do that as I am randomly talking and not knowing things. You can be my fact checker.
I got you.
Also, side note, this is random, but I was talking about on Strike Pod that I wanted to get another mic stand, and I found this one for my vocal stuff, and I was like, I don't know why I haven't been using it. I can go back and forth now, and I can take this with me, but I don't have to be up here.
Oh, that's nice.
So anyways, thank you everyone for listening to that. Okay, the last thing about this is that this guy, so it really started in Oxford, the UK, for those of you. Whatever. Okay, in 1921, from the president of something called the Oxford International Assembly. And he traveled around trying to make this a real thing and spreading the idea. And then Harvard was the first main place that it went further and it started to actually gain momentum. And that's how it just kind of spread from there. So that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So I really love that Leslie and Ben are finding ways to find in common or whatever, but I just love this storyline so much. I think that this is such a wonderful way to bring them together.
It's great. It's such a
They're so
wacky, very them scenario too, where they're both on the same playing field and evenly matched in this specific kind of nerddom and type A-ness.
Yes.
Type A-ness is not a great phrase. Type A personalities.
I didn't even think about it like that.
Oh man, guys.
Okay, we're doing it. All right. Okay, well, Maddie did make a summary for us, which I'm very glad, and she had some brief notes.
Maddie.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and play that.
Hello, Park Pals. Okay, so I have a summary for the treaty today. So here it goes. This week on Parks and Rec, Leslie and Ben help lead the Model United Nations for the youth of Pawnee, and sparks are flying, but not the good kind. Ron spends time trying to rehire for Tom's position in the Parks Department, but Tom himself is making it difficult. While Anne is put in the interesting and slightly uncomfortable situation of helping Kris with relationship advice. That's all I have. I do have some thoughts, and Holly, feel free to splice these as you need or not even use them. But short and sweet, Leslie and Ben are being children. It's obvious, but the emotions of everything, it makes sense. And I get it, but also, like, guys, you're pulling teenagers down into this with you. Tom needs to get off his high horse, and Kris needs to have just a little bit more awareness.
Same.
Enjoy the treaty.
Yeah, first of all, I would never cut anything. Well, I mean, I would cut things, but not what Madi says, especially in the summary. But secondly, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I think it started with me listening to Rob Lowe's podcast with Alan Yang, and like me not really appreciating him. I was like gonna be Democratic or whatever, but I was like, I don't know. No, he doesn't know. I think I talked to you and Logan about this before. He just doesn't really know how to be like a layman anymore, because he's not, and he hasn't been for a really long time. So then I am watching Kris, and like I think it would be this way regardless, but this just ups the ante a little bit. But Kris is so fucking annoying, especially in these last 3 episodes. When he started with asking Jerry permission or whatever, we were like, okay, fine, okay. But then talking about how they're having sex and grinding up at April and Andy's Halloween party in front of Jerry and all these things, I was like, and now this? No.
I think, though, we need this development for that rock bottom we're about to get with Traeger, and then ultimately get us to that better place. Right? Because he starts off as such a caricature. He's only happy. He's only got this one speed. He's just there to finger gun and get out of there.
Yes.
And by the end of the series, we do end up with a much more well-rounded character who I personally think that personality matched with complete and utter despair is so funny.
It is.
I love it. So right now, it is the, God, I'm so annoyed by him. But then I have the promise of him doing all that exploration and being worthy of Anne, you know? Because for the longest time, too, she views herself, and this is obviously jumping ahead so much, but she views that relationship as the first time she's been dumped. Oh, poor beautiful Anne. And she's really hung up on him. But then we have this lovely switcheroo of, no, Anne Perkins then found herself and figured out who she was and went through all of that. And so did Kris. And then they can come together in a much better, healthier way.
Great call. Okay, thank you for that perspective.
But in this episode, he's annoying as fuck. So, yeah. You are correct.
Yes. No, but that's a great call. That's a great call. We need that rock bottom for sure. And it has been, the writers are, shouts to writers, man. It was definitely, with this story and with Leslie's story, it's such a buildup and then a shot down. Or a shot up in Leslie's. Woo! Okay, so, all right, starting the episode, it starts with Leslie asking Ben, like so flirty, so casual, if he's seen the 193 national flags, because she's been asked to run this year's Model UN. I love her red blazer, by the way. It's so cute.
Oh, so cute.
It's great. And she's saying that if they don't make it awesome, they might cancel it. Wonder if I'm going to make it awesome. I love that line so much.
Their opening banter is so precious in this.
It's so cute. And I just love how excited that he gets, That's really sweet. So I love this conversation also between Ben and Leslie, figuring out which countries they're going to be, how confident and ready Ben is as opposed to like the previous episodes, because he just, was not feeling himself, not being with Leslie, all these things. He cried in his Batman suit like 2 episodes ago. But it's so cute to see him kind of back on the horse with this other thing, because it's kind of distracting to him,
Well, and it's such a different pivot, seeing him this kind of context, too, with him being in what is a political arena. It's an imaginary one, and how he can thrive and make decisions and act very, very quickly, right? Versus how he actually has conducted himself when presented with running things or being put on the spot when it comes to media coverage. I think it's really, really cute that given the imaginariness of this, that he thrives here.
Yeah.
Because the stakes aren't actual for him, aside from the idea of winning UN.
Yeah, totally. That's true. And like, yeah, going back to him being just like more self-possessed and confident. You know what I mean? I just like that side of him. I love this line, though, is talking head of like, oh, I didn't really do Model UN. Oh, wait, I super did.
I love that he thinks it's such a sick comeback, too. He's like, yeah. Huh.
Oh, my God. I have a couple of deleted scenes to play because Ben... Like, they had a couple of alts for this, so it wasn't technically a deleted scene, maybe, but Ben is, again, just showing how, like, cute and confident he is. But, okay, here's the first one.
This is hard to get.
Yeah, I know, and I got it. Now put it down.
Sorry. Did I do Model United Nations in high school? Yes.
It's so creepy and sinister.
It's so unhinged.
Unhinged. That's the word. Oh. And he feels so good enough to be able to do that. Okay, so that was that one. And then at the beginning, she was talking about a flag, and he was like, "That's so hard to get. Oh my God." Anyway, this part, this next one clip that I'm gonna play is actually at the convention.
Like a rock star. Well, when I was a senior, I did create a satisfactory Palestinian state in less than 28 minutes. Indiana state record. Never mind.
28 minutes? What took you so long? Listen, let's get this sesh on the road and show you guys how we did things in the 763. It's my childhood area code. In rural Minnesota. Never mind.
It really reminds me of his confidence as an accountant as well.
Oh, that's a great point.
Especially when he laughs, and also, I guess he's starting it now. I don't know. I feel like this is the first time we're really seeing him like so joyful and confident. I'm using the word confident because I can't think of another word. But like even with Cones of Dunshire, like he knows he can win. He knows he's the best. He has that like sinister laugh where he's like, "I know more than you, bitch."
Yes.
And I just think that this character building of like what he becomes when he feels like he knows more and is smart and in his zone is so cool.
Yeah, a cocky Ben Wyatt doesn't happen often.
No,
and it's a fun flavor.
Mm-hmm. So I love that. Okay, so let's see. Leslie is now asking Andy and April to volunteer to be in the Model UN, and Andy said he won't be Iceland or Japan because both of them were the bad guys. Germany's never been the bad guys.
Germany's never been the bad guy. I just love the bad Iceland, the bad guys in Mighty Ducks 2. Japan, the bad guys in Karate Kid 2.
Even worse.
It's so great. I was just wondering about this because Mighty Ducks was more our age. Were you a big Mighty Ducks stan?
No.
No? Okay.
I wasn't.
Loved those movies. And 2 is the better one, in my humble opinion. Because they're competing on a global scale.
Is it animated? Am I stupid?
No. Oh, no, actually, not at all. Not at all. You never are. But there's a reason why you would think that, where there were these live action movies about this, kids hockey team.
Oh,
but then
yes.
There's also an animated version of it where it's actual ducks. There's 2 of them. Yeah. So you're correct.
I feel like I saw the first live one, but it wasn't like we watched it all the time. And for Karate Kid, I was definitely Hilary Swank Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So
Same.
But I did watch Cobra Kai a little bit, and I mean, it was okay. It's not. I don't think it was for me, to be completely honest with you. But,
I haven't watched any of it.
Yeah, some people liked it. I think it was like a good start, but
Yeah, I know a bunch of people who are super into it, but I wasn't a big Karate Kid stan.
Yeah, I really liked the second one. I did watch. I don't know why I watched that. It must have been on like Disney or Nick or something like that. But I liked the part where a car comes up and she jumps on top of the hood and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm a ninja now." You know what I mean? Anyways, but that line was brilliant about Germany, and now April's going to be the moon and South Africa.
What could be more natural?
What are you going to do without tides, Peru? Love that line. Oh my God. Now Ron would rather sand down his toenails as opposed to, like we were talking about before, being in a live version of the Model UN.
In my notes, too, I have toe sanding.
I know.
I had completely forgotten that bit.
Me too. And I had also forgotten, I just had forgotten that, because in my head I was like, you can't use toenail clippers, you weirdo. And then he was like, they're too strong for toenail clippers.
Which, for some reason, and I don't know if you had the same reaction, though, I was like, that tracks. Ron Swanson is too much man for a run-of-the-mill toe clipper.
Especially
but not even in a gross way. In like he basically is a redwood himself. Yeah. He needs to be sanded.
Oh my God, that is a brilliant and beautiful metaphor, just like Ron. Oh, great. Oh my God. Okay, well, now we're going to meet Lauren for the first time. Did you have anything before that?
Our mini Leslie. No, that's what I have next too.
Okay, cool. Yes, our mini Leslie. Lauren is played by Kelly Washington. She was in Jurassic World, I saw on IMDb. I don't know what, and I'm sorry that I didn't do that much of a deep dive, but she was in that, so congrats. She was also in The Middle, the TV show with our friend Neil Flynn. I'm saying our friend because we talked about him on Strike Pod once, but whatever.
We love him.
And then the most recent thing was a short called Half Chance of Evil. She also has a podcast about the Disney parks, so that's cool. I follow her on Instagram, and I saw that she posted about her podcast. And then she also is part of a fashion brand that fights against human trafficking called Unchained Threads.
Very cool. Wow. What a dynamic young woman.
I know. Good for you, Kelly. And I do hope to hear from her after the strike. That would be lovely to hear from her because I know that she comes back when Pacitis comes back. Ugh.
Pacitis.
But yeah, I was really happy to meet her for the first time. She was great.
Oh, lovely. What a wonderful introduction.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm back at the office, and Tom is pretending to play it cool, talking about Enron. I did do a tiny little deep dive on Enron.
Oh, no.
What the fuck? I forgot what this is again. But it was a commodities, energy, and services company that stopped operations in 2007, and I didn't realize how huge of a scandal it actually was. In 2001, they declared bankruptcy because of a widespread fraud moment. And then they covered billions of dollars of debt from failed deals and projects that they didn't have. And Enron employees and shareholders received limited returns in lawsuits, despite losing billions in pensions and stock prices. Wow. The founders were actually sentenced to prison because of it. Yep. Which is gnarly. And it was the largest corporate bankruptcy until WorldCom, which I didn't look into that, but WorldCom was the following year. And new legislation and regulation was passed because of this whole debacle to expand the accuracy of financial reporting for public companies, which is crazy. I had no idea.
So Enron was based in Houston. And I was in junior high or high school.
For those of you new here, Kris is from Houston.
I'm from Houston originally. I'm outside of it from a town called The Woodlands. But a lot of my friends' parents worked in some capacity to Enron. My dad worked he was legal counsel for another company that created the different tools and things for energy retrieval. Wow. So he worked for a company called FMC Technologies. And so, you know, if you lived in the area, a lot of times your parents or your family members were intrinsically tied to this company, or at least, you know, oil and gas and stuff like that. It's huge in Houston. So it was such a big part of my adolescence was this huge scandal.
Wow.
So that joke, too, I was like, oh my God.
Do you remember if your dad, like, lost money as an employee? Like, wait, was he, did you say
So he wasn't affiliated with Enron.
Okay,
but because he was legal counsel for another company, he knew all these other lawyers or he knew all these other people who were connected to these things. And it was just a wild time. And then I had friends whose, like, parents worked for that company, too, and were just totally bamboozled.
Oh, my God.
It was wild. Oh, the
That
early
sounds
aughts in Houston, you guys. Crazy time. Crazy time in oil, too, where all kinds of bad things were happening.
That is so
There's
wild.
usually not good things happening in oil, if I may say so.
Yeah,
but
let's be real.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for that eyewitness account. And apparently, okay, what did I write? One piece of legislation, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, increased penalties for destroying, altering, or fabricating records in federal investigations or for attempting to defraud shareholders. So that's kind of why it really reminded me, and this is so like elementary to say, but it reminded me of the signs they put in stores where it's like you need to wear a shirt or something, and I'm just like, somebody walked in here without a shirt and that's why the sign is up, and that's why this legislation happened, because something crazy happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not elementary. That's totally factual. The reason why anyone has a warning on anything is because some schmuck got hurt or took advantage of a loophole like that of, oh my gosh, when I put my McDonald's coffee between my legs while driving, I got 3rd-degree burns. Don't spill your coffee on yourself. I don't know. Yikes. We have to put that on there.
I know that must have sucked getting those burns, but I don't even know about that whole little scandal. So wild. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anyway, side note. Okay. Henry Lay, who was one of the founders of Enron, died of a heart attack 3 months before his sentencing. Scandalous. Ooh. Yeah, and I mean, like, the autopsy showed that, I mean, the official reports say that it was a heart attack and he wasn't trying to escape. So, I mean, death or prison or both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy. Rest in peace. But also, like, that sucks. And also, like, you fucked over a lot of people. So, yeah. Anyhow, but that was so crazy. So, because Tom is saying, like, Enron can come back, bro. Like, Enron's down, but it's not out. You know, like, we'll still have a chance to come back. Like, get at me. He's trying to make all these entrepreneurial, like, you know, moves.
Every time I watch that scene, too, and I don't know if you've ever seen this yourself, you know, when you're in the gym and someone has to take a really important phone call between their reps or something and is like, oh, gotta put down my set. What's that? And they just have the most one-sided conversation that makes you go, I don't think someone's on the other end.
Well, you tell Warner Brothers that I'm not folding for more than 50 million.
That kind of stuff of like, listen, WMA is talking to me. And you're like, no, they're not. No one's talking to you.
It has to be public.
Yeah,
that's totally what Tom's doing. Like, he has to do it in front of Ron, especially because of this whole hiring thing.
It's so much peacocking.
Yes, which is Tom. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. But yeah, he's putting on a front saying that he's tearing it up all over town, but he's totally not. Ron saw Tom spraying samples of cologne at Macy's, and that sucks. And also, it was really funny. I don't know if you noticed, but in that talking head, when he's talking about the Macy's thing, Tom is in the background, like on the phone, and he's so animated. He's just like waving his hands all over. I just thought it was really funny.
Cute.
All right. Well, now I'm at where Kris and Ann are meeting up, kind of, not really, in the hallway. And he's complaining that Millie isn't returning his calls, and Ann makes this sarcastic joke about, oh, it's not perfect. Like, wow, it's only lasted for like however many weeks or whatever the hell. It must be serious. Oh, no. And he says the root of sarcasm is truth. Do you agree with that?
No.
I don't think that's true. I think that he's grasping at straws or something.
I feel like that is true if you are talking in a self-deprecating way about yourself. Or that's an internalized truth that you think is real that you're trying to make light of.
That's real. That's very astute. I agree with that.
But yeah, for observing somebody else.
Yeah. Her root of her sarcasm was more of like, okay, fuck off, bro. What?
Just, no, get out of here.
Yeah. So she does another sarcastic quip, and then he walks away, and he's like, you're a delight. And I'm just like, shut up. Oh, my God.
Kris Traeger, why?
But okay, Kris, I get it. You need some. I mean, I do get it. I guess if you dig a tiny bit deeper, even though I don't think it's meant to, like, you know, he wants everything to be perfect, and one thing in his life is not. So he's like, I got to figure this out, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyhow, all right. Well, now we're back at the Model UN, and I was so shook by how great it looks in there.
It's really nice. They did an excellent job.
Excellent job with all of the tables, the flags, the signs. One of the signs in the bag, I couldn't get the words, all of the words anyway, but there was something about waffles. So I was like, Leslie, are you hosting like a waffle party thing or after this or something?
I think that would be such a beautiful moment, too, of tying in, local businesses with local government. Leslie Knope would be all about it, especially if she gets a waffle.
Perfect. Okay, well, speaking of waffles and food, like this segue, we're talking about global food crises.
Not enough waffles to go around. Bummer.
Not enough waffles, man. Which is also bringing me back to Strike Pod because you were talking about your superpower. That it would be like, planting and stuff for food.
Yeah, I think that's hunger. It might be a little too, simplifying the problem of, if I can control plants, I can eradicate hunger.
No, I get it. But you got to start somewhere.
I think so.
But they're trying to solve the global food crisis at this meeting, and billions of people will starve to death. But most importantly, have fun. I love that she gets so, I know, right? She gets so into it. I love how so many of Leslie's lines in this are so crazy. Like, she's talking about this next talking head is like, Ben and I are really good friends too. Like, I know the romantic part is over, but a romantic relationship is not as good as friendship because friends are better than boyfriends. Boyfriends just love you and marry you.
Friends help you move and take you to the airport. Boyfriends
that
just love you and marry you. And truly, though, that moment I was like, no, honestly, this is a cornerstone of my marriage is we do not take each other to the airport if it is LAX.
Oh, really?
Neither of us will go there. The only person I would pick you up there. Holly, I would pick you up.
I would try to fly into Burbank for you.
Thank you. I've picked up and taken Megan to LAX. That's where I draw the line. and a foundation of our marriage and being happy has been, we will never go to LAX if it's only one of us flying.
Honestly, I feel like I remember there being those Overheard LA accounts or whatever, and Overheard New York. Have you heard of these?
Oh, yeah. I love those.
Yeah, I feel like one of them was about the airport and was like, wow, you must really like him or her or whoever to take them to the airport.
It's true.
LAX it's true. Like Nashville and DC even, DC is like a little nuts too. But like LAX, that's a commitment. Like that's a day commitment.
That's a horrible airport.
Yeah.
It's
but
awful.
I was going to say, and I'll get to this a little bit later, but I feel like just talking about the friendship versus romantic relationship, Ben in the last episode was like, I can't handle being friends with you / I just can't handle being around you because it's too much. And she's like, but we can still be friends. And I just feel like at first, I think before I was like analytical about this, I was like, well, yeah, she's just saying she can just be friends too. But like as this, especially this episode goes on, she can't. She's so lying to herself. Like she cannot be just friends with him either. She thinks she can, but she totally can't. And I thought that was really eye-opening in this episode or this watch through particularly, Oh,
absolutely. About how both of them are so... miserable is not the right word, but
yeah,
both of them are just so hung up on each other that there's no other recourse here. They can't behave in any other way.
Yeah, 100%. It's so sad to watch too, man, especially like the downfall of it. I
know.
Anyway.
I do real quick.
Yes.
I want to bring up a very important question.
Uh-huh.
So Andy was trading all of his military power and goods and everything for lions. And I very earnestly leaned over to Logan and went, what do you think the market value of a lion is?
You know what? They're doing the exotic animal thing, like the tigers and all these things. It's probably expensive. I don't know. Like we talked about this actually last episode on End of the World when Tom and John Ralphio get a tiger for their End of the World party for whatever the fuck reason. Yeah. And yeah, I guess it just makes you feel like rich and
I guess so.
Elite. But I don't understand, I guess, for the tiger at the End of the World party, they were just that tiger was probably miserable because he was just sitting there. But the lions, they'd have some work to do.
I mean,
I don't know what the market value is, though, to answer your question.
I don't think it was a great move, but also I don't think it was the worst move. And this is why I didn't do Model UN, because I was like, no, I can see the value. I can see why we do this.
Oh, my God. That is so funny. I love that. Okay, yeah. So Kris is talking to Jerry about Millie. Again, stop talking to Jerry about your relationship. Stop it.
It's gross.
There's no reason that he's going to solve your problems. But I do like the line, though, when he's like, you know her well, probably, right? So silly.
My daughter?
But then,
yeah.
Right, my daughter. But then Donna gets in on it. And I love love Donna getting in on it. Last episode, we talked about how Donna only had like one scene when she says like, yeah, this was the best party. And Maddie and I were both like, oh my God, Donna would thrive in an end of the world party scene, like more than that. And so we were just like, where is she? So I'm so glad they brought her. And obviously she could have had more in this one too. But I think they're still figuring out like where to place her and Jerry, kind of almost like as series regulars. But anyway, she talks about how Kris was too accessible and you got to play the game a little, dangle the carrot, which love that.
Which fleshes out her character so much more for us moving forward towards that series regular kind of higher up in the casting totem pole, right? Where all these little hints keep getting dropped by the wonderful work of Retta. I think she's so amazing.
Me too.
But all these lovely things that we then learn about how like she already lives her life like it is the end of the world because she does whatever she wants. She dangles that carrot also because she's very scared of being hurt.
Mm-hmm. That's real. Yep, we learned that later too. Also, I don't know if you remember this, but in the deleted scenes, when we first learned that she was like a baller and getting a Mercedes and stuff, in the deleted scenes, they said that she was massively in debt and that's how she afforded it. But I'm so glad we've decided, I think, that the canon or deleted scenes are not canon. So they're fun extras. But I think, and I'm so glad that Donna is just a baller because she's a baller, not because she's in debt. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, that makes so much more sense that they wouldn't be canon because then moving forward, we have her as this real estate mogul. She understands diversifying a portfolio.
Yes.
She talks about finance all the time and how she can invest in all these other things and why she will or won't buy into things.
Right.
She's a shark.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, it'd be one thing, and this is totally off topic kind of, but like it'd be one thing if she was like growing from her debt to like equity and stuff, but that's just not what I see for her. And I don't think that it was needed, you know? So I just love that.
Yeah.
And I love that she is like so okay with and like confident in her sexuality and like dating and all these things. It's so lovely, which we did see when Andy and April got married at the singles thing when Donna's there and she's like, you're to Anne, like you're a competition, like get off of me. And then she teaches Anne like how to be like flirty and, you know, date. Yeah. So anyways, but I think it was that's a good point that little tiny nugget like just expands so much more later, which is nice. Okay. So now Ron is interviewing people for Tom's old job, and there's this old man named Courtney who, oh God, made a pass at an ethnic woman, which is why he was fired and not retired after having been that old and was in jail for a spell. That brings us up to speed.
I just love that. You're going to hire this old racist man? He said he likes ethnic women, Tom. Oh, God.
Terrible! Oh my God. Also, this actor's name is Murray Gershens. What a Murray. What a Murray. Oh my God.
What a Murray.
Side note, pour one out because he actually passed away in 2013.
Oh no.
Great job, Murray. We really love it. That was only 2 years after he shot this. So yeah, I mean, it didn't say like cause of death or anything like that, but you know, he was older, so I don't know. But either way, he was in I Love You Man. He was in The Hangover. He was in The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, a bunch of other things. And he comes back next season, apparently, in The Campaign Shakeup, which is the one where Jen Barkley comes. Like, Bobby Newport has hired a new campaign manager, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't remember him in that episode, and I didn't watch it because I was like, I want to wait. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
I do love how they have the Pawnee players just keep coming back.
Oh,
it makes it feel much more like a town, which is wonderful.
Yes, we love that. It's so nice. Apparently, he was also in, I don't know why I didn't write this before, but he was in House, Modern Family, and others. So thank you, Murray, for your service. He did such a funny job. And I also love, I know, right? Cheers to him.
Cheers to Murray.
I do love that Ron is like trying to fuck with Tom a little bit and is like, oh, he's like a really serious candidate. Like, you should just like calm down a little bit. But Tom's saying he's made a legacy and he made it cool. Like, first it was Parks and Recreation, then it was Parks and Rec, then it was P&R, then it was Tommy's Place.
Tommy's Place.
Which is funny, as stupid as it is.
This is another great example, too, of how Ron is a mentor and he can't be anything else as much as he tries to fight being involved in the lives of his coworkers.
Yeah.
You know, he talks all the time about not wanting to know somebody well, forget their name so that they remember their place, these kinds of things. And he cannot help himself but still nurture and help people grow to be their better selves, as much as he tries to kind of rail against that. And his methods aren't always the best, but I think it's a really sweet thing.
I think it's sweet too. And especially since the beginning of the show, he's now starting to care about his workplace proximity associates.
Yes. Which again is a lovely through line that when we get to that final season, we're like, oh,
special.
Oh, you care so much.
I know. Oh my God. That was such a, when he looks at April in that one scene at the end. Oh my God. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I totally get it. And I mean, as we go further on in the episode, we'll talk about this a little bit, but like, he's also really fighting for Tom, which like, he keeps coming back to it. And I was like, wow, this is wild. I feel like he wouldn't have done this like even like 2 episodes ago, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really nice. Okay, so it looks like we are now back at the Model UN, and they have this handshake going on. William, our friend Johnny Sneed, who is the campaign manager for Leslie, comes up. We interviewed him, so go back and listen to that if you haven't already. He is so lovely.
Great episode.
Oh, thank you. He was wonderful. I love him so much. Side note, he's in a new Samsung commercial, so shouts to you, Johnny.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Extra side note. I tried to take a picture real quick, and then it came and went. I saw Hunter in a new car commercial or something.
Hunter?
From 3-2-1.
Oh, what? Wait, who's Hunter? Oh, Hunter Steeble. Yes, he's in the, I was confused and I'll explain why. But yes, I saw that too. I follow him on Instagram and I saw it on Instagram first. The reason I'm confused, I don't know why I thought this. First I thought it was a kid, and then you said car commercial because Burley is actually in a car commercial right now. Andrew Burlinson, who we've also interviewed.
Yeah.
From the infamous Mouse Rat. And so I was like, wait a second, did you mean Burley? Wait, no. And then Hunter. Yeah, so everybody is just having a moment.
Everybody getting in commercials. Some people getting their commercials renewed.
Give me that check.
Give it to me. Get it.
Money, please. But anyway, yeah, so shouts to Johnny. I did message him and ask like what he remembers from this episode, and he was like, to be honest, it was so long ago and so short. I was like, I don't really know anything. I didn't honestly expect anything, to be honest, because it is so short. He has like 2 lines maybe, and yeah. So anyway, but he does email back.
What a sweetie for responding though. What a nice guy.
Oh my God. He is so great. He's one of my faves. Him and Burley, like speaking of them both, are one of the most communicative people that we've had. Like even if they don't know anything or whatever, they'll just be like, "Oh man, I kind of think I remember a little bit of that about that." Like explain it and jog my memory, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
That's so nice. I love that. What a bunch of great guys.
I know. All right, so one of the things that Maddie and I talked about last week in End of the World was that there was some resentment building up on Ben's side, especially because Ben is like, Ben is flirting with Tweep, like openly, first of all, which I was frustrated with. But we were like, first of all, he's kind of resenting, but I was like, he's just like trying to move on, man. But I think that in this episode, for sure, you really see that resentment kind of building up, and this talking head of like, it's fun. You know, we're friends now. It's fun. It is fun. And him just trying to fake it so hard. And I see it. I'd be frustrated too. Like, we're in the middle of dominating this thing. Like, we're finally coming to a common ground when we haven't spent that much time together, either at work or definitely not personally. And now we're like having a moment, and she's like, okay, bye, gotta go. Which, like, again, we get it, but also it's like, fuck.
Well, and it's the thing that's keeping them apart.
Yes.
So
yes,
I'm going to go deal with my campaign now, bud. Oh, what an extra twist of the knife thereof. I can't be with you. And it's always going to be more important is how that moment can be perceived if you're on the receiving end of that.
That is so good. That's so true. Because like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing that we actually broke up over instead of hanging out with you.
Yes.
That sucks.
Oh, it's horrible. It's really, really bad. And I mean, that being said, too, should Ben have said she was being obtuse?
Mm-hmm.
And then gone on to purposefully, and stop me if I'm jumping ahead too much, too.
It's okay.
Purposefully, like, deciding how to do his own things with the UN and pushing her aside. No, that was very childish.
Yeah. But you see why he did it a little bit too. God.
Well, and it is. Well, she is being obtuse.
Yeah.
At the worst, she's being completely oblivious to what's happening.
Yeah.
And at best, she's going, but your feelings kind of don't matter, right?
I know. Well, and I like that line too, especially, he says, well, this is what we kind of came here for. Like, this is important. You know what I mean? Like, we're here for this one reason. And so, yeah, just sucks, dude. But this is, again, where Andy tries to sell Finland's military to Kenya for 50 lines, or tries to. No, he does. Also, did you see the kids? I meant to say this. Did you see the kids in the background as he walks away? They like make this face of like, oh my God, I can't believe he just did that. I'm so like, we have the military now. I was like, great background work, you guys.
April does great work in this one too, of just like, I support you, but also
what? Oh my God. I love that we get to see so much more now. How Andy would just be in a ditch if it wasn't for April. He would be in the pit.
He still would be in the pit, yeah. He would have found his way back.
Yep. Oh my God. There is a deleted scene here where Andy, it has a talking head and he's like, did you ever see Narnia? One of those lions ends up being Christ-like. So I figure if I get all of the lions, one of those lions has to be like the Narnia one. So I can just do whatever I want.
That has to be, because of the religious overtones of Narnia, that has to be a Chris Pratt ad lib.
I don't know, dude. I wonder, because I feel like, was he as religious as he is now during the show? I just feel like he wasn't.
That's a fair point. That
who
was
knows?
a later development.
I could totally see that happening now.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Hilarious,
but
though.
you could be right. You could be right. I just feel like during all the deleted scenes that I've been seeing of Pratt has been like so dirty and like sexual and like not today's Chris Pratt, if that makes sense. No. Which, like, look, we all change. But yeah.
Well, I mean, infamously, he had that moment of just being completely nude on set.
Right. Right.
And luckily, not getting fired.
Like, whoo. Ooh.
That was a bold move. And
Ooh.
Amy Poehler could have been like, you done.
Anybody could have.
Yeah.
We talked to a person, which I'll tell you off air, but we talked to a person who like talked about that on the interview and was like, can we actually cut that? I don't know if we should talk about that. And I was like, baby girl or man or person. I would call anyone baby girl. You know this.
Yes,
but like,
true.
It's out. It's public news now. But seriously, anyone could have gone to HR and been like, this is not okay. This is not appropriate. But anyway,
the Kim
got the
Kardashian
reaction that he was looking for.
Yeah. That all comes
You said
to
what?
mind. I said the Kim Kardashian ad lib is another one that I'm like,
Totally.
Sir.
Totally. Would he say that now? I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. Okay. You guys. Wow. Okay. All right. So Ben is like, hey, we need to get our plans out there. He's definitely getting madder and madder, more frustrated. The kid who reps Bulgaria is like, oh, yeah, this is when they're doing the promo thing. And he's like, oh, my God, she's so cool. You're like so lucky to be friends with her. And I just love his like, shut up, Bulgaria. Like, side note, this fella, Ashton Bingham, who played Bulgaria, sent us a voice memo.
Oh.
And I have to share my screen because I'll share some stuff that he sent. He sent the call sheet. He sent his sides that he had for his auditions. He sent the breakdown. I was aghast.
What a sweetie.
I know. I can't believe he has it. I'm so excited. Ashton, thank you so much for that. It made my whole entire day. And it's going to seriously like contribute to so much of like what we think about the show. Because in the scenes, and I'll send them to you, in the scenes, like there were quite a few stuff that was cut or changed or whatever, as they often do. But it was really interesting to see how they kind of transformed that. So it was really cool. But anyway, Ashton, okay, he's a huge YouTuber, by the way. He has a show called Trilogy Media, and they won a Streamy Award, which I looked up, and that's a huge thing.
That's huge.
Yes. He has like a bajillion followers. Okay, I can't remember a bajillion, but it's like a billion or a million. It's either M or B, million or billion, I don't know. But it's in there. It's up there. So really proud of you. They are primarily a scam busting channel, according to YouTube. They alert the public about scams in society and offer awareness with comedic and heartfelt videos that shed light on detrimental scammers. Crazy!
I love that the actors playing these wonderful altruistic people doing Model UN grew up or went on to be wonderful altruistic human beings who are doing good things for people.
It's great. And I watched a couple of the videos. They're so fun and cool and like weird in the best way. I just love it.
I'll have to subscribe. That's awesome.
Yes, please do. I'll link it in the show notes for everybody to subscribe. It's great. But he does that with his friend, business partner, but he's also an actor. Apparently he was in 2 episodes of Henry Danger, Supergirl, some other cool looking projects, but he also edits and produces, as we know from YouTube, but I think he also does that with film and TV stuff. And he's a writer as well. So, oh my God, it's just like, Ashton, thank you. But I haven't listened to the voice memo. It is a little bit on the longer side, but I didn't feel like editing it in this very moment because I wanted to hear everything. So we will see how that goes. I think it's going to be great. But here he is.
Hey everyone, what's going on? My name is Ashton Bingham, and I'm an actor. I played the role of Bulgaria on an episode of Parks and Recreation called The Treaty, which was season 4, episode 7. I'm actually, just before recording this, going through some of my old emails from my agent and call sheets and different things like that, just to kind of give a little bit of a memory refresher, since this was quite some time ago. Looks like the call sheet I have pulled up here was from September 14th of 2011.
What? It's September 23rd right now. It's almost a full, however many the hell years. Wow.
12.
Full circle. 12. Thank you for math. Okay, sorry. I interrupted you, Ashton. Hold on. I don't know where we left off.
I worked only 2 days on this set, and although it was, over 12 years ago now, still sticks very strong in my mind. This was an incredible experience, and I have nothing but amazing things to say about it. Let me get right into the questions that were sent over here. So I got the job on Parks and Recreation from a submission through my agent. So this was, like I said, September of 2011, which would have been just over a year and a half after I moved to LA. So I was diving headfirst into just about every audition, every opportunity I possibly could get. I was fortunate enough to have an agent at that point that was submitting me for stuff like this, which is typically the only way that you can get auditions and opportunities for the major network TV shows. This was listed in the actor breakdown. The role name was simply called Model UN Delegates. So they were running a series of auditions with several people, and I can actually send you some of these materials if you want, but the role description here is Model UN Delegates from Russia, Switzerland, China, Germany, male and female, all ethnicities, to play 16 to 17 Pawnee High School students, American, participating in a Model UN, nerdy, geeky, or awkward, outcasts, brainiacs, etc. And this was labeled as a co-star role, which typically, at least at the time, referred to a role in a network show that the episode didn't center around by any means, but they did have lines at one point or another. And it's funny that Bulgaria wasn't even listed here, and the audition script that I did mentioned nothing about Bulgaria. I can actually send you the audition script that I did. They basically had all the actors auditioning for a variety of these UN, Model UN countries read the same script, and the script is labeled as Switzerland. So there's a lot of different roles labeled as Switzerland that all of the actors would read, even though they were being considered for all of the countries. And my line with Adam Scott is actually nowhere to be found in this script. I didn't actually know that that line would be my line until the day of. Audition process was pretty straightforward. It was in front of a casting director named Dorian Frankel, who was always very kind to me, had called me in several times prior. This was my first time booking something through her, so as an actor, that's a huge accomplishment and something really exciting. Because it was a co-star role, meaning that the auditions are usually very quick, and there usually aren't producers in the room or anything super high stakes. Oftentimes, these smaller co-star roles get auditioned with the casting director and a video camera only, and then their favorites are then sent to the producers, who will then make a decision. Sometimes with roles, especially if there are more lines involved, they'll do what's called a producer callback, so they'll have you come back and read it again in front of the casting director in a room of producers. That didn't happen in this case. I went in one time, read these lines with Dorian and a camera. It was in and out. I probably was in the room less than 60 seconds, and I was out, and then you hear that you're on a hold, or on a veil, as sometimes it's called, and then you usually find out you book it right before it actually happens. And that's exactly what happened for me. What memories do you have of being on set? Having a line with Adam Scott, being around Amy Poehler, other kids, crafty table. Happy to hear anything I didn't ask to. Yeah, my memories on this set are just nothing but fun. Again, I was fresh to LA, so any movie set or TV show set I was on was heaven. I love doing what I do, and anytime I get a chance to play, especially with legends, like there were on this set, is a complete honor. So I was having a blast. Like I said, I worked 2 days on this project. The one that stands out the most actually is Adam Scott. He was so incredibly kind to me. And at the time of filming this, I'm trying to backtrack my history of being in LA. I can't remember if I currently worked or I used to work. But I had mentioned to him about having a job as a tour guide at the Warner Brothers studio. Now, we weren't shooting this in a studio. We were actually shooting this in a real middle school. I'll send you the call sheet if you want to check it out. It's in the San Fernando Valley. It was a middle school that they set up as Pawnee High School for this in that big gymnasium room. And I mentioned that job. Again, I can't remember if I was working there currently. I don't think I was. I'd have to look back at my... It doesn't matter. But yeah, anyway, I told him that I had done tours at the Warner Brothers studio, and he took what seemed like a really genuine interest in this. And having been new to LA, and I was trying my best to just fit in and be liked, as you do. He asked me a lot of questions. He took a genuine interest in not just what I did at that job, but where I came from coming to LA. I had not a tremendous amount of time, but most of my downtime was with or near Adam Scott, and he was very, very kind to me. Not an ounce of celebrity, quote unquote. He was very kind, asked a lot of questions, took a genuine interest in me, as if I were another main lead actor in this episode, even though I very much wasn't. My interactions with the rest of the folks were a lot smaller. The only other two I really had direct communication with was Amy Poehler and Chris Pratt. Amy Poehler was because Adam Scott actually introduced me to her. So it was in one of our conversations. Again, my memory could be exaggerating this, but I remember having a good long conversations of 15 to 20 minutes each over maybe 5 or 6 times throughout this one particular day. When we were shooting up on the stage there, when I actually had my line. So yeah, it was in between takes, and he introduced me to Amy, was very kind to do so. She was very nice to me. Again, my interaction with her was very brief, but she was very kind, and her and Adam seemed to be good friends, so it all just kind of felt like family. And my other interaction that I can remember was with Chris Pratt, who was, at the time, Chris Pratt on Parks and Rec, not the action Marvel star Chris Pratt. So he was very much the goofy character that he is on TV, and I don't really remember the circumstance or why it happened this way, but what happened was I was standing somewhere, and you know how your memory twists things sometimes, so I'm remembering this being more awkward than it really was. But I remember it being awkward, but also being hilarious at the same time. I was standing there talking to somebody. I don't remember who, or there was like a small group of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us. And Chris Pratt kind of, how someone just kind of walks up to a group and everyone takes notice? The conversation kind of has a bit of a pause. So he did that. He walked up, everyone took notice, and he was like, "What's up, guys?" And no one responded to him. We weren't ignoring him. I don't know if we were, I don't think I was starstruck, but we all it was just kind of an awkward moment. It was like, "What's up, guys?" And then no one said anything. And then he goes, "Well, see you later." And he keeps on walking. It was just one of those super brief moments that only was 5 or 6 seconds long. But we all, as he walked away, we just were laughing at how kind of on point that interaction was with the kind of character he plays and everything. So that was just kind of fun. But everybody was extremely kind. Oh, and the other one I had interaction with, of course, was the director. I believe his name is pronounced Jorma Taccone, which is funny because when I was on set, I was looking at him and looking at him and looking at him. I'm like, this guy looks so familiar. I know who this is, but I can't think of it. And it finally clicked about halfway through the first day that, oh my gosh, that's the guy with Andy Samberg from The Lonely Island. So it took me a minute to put that together, but he was the one that directed the episode. And the last really notable thing I can note about this whole experience was the massive amount of improv that these actors would do. they would be filming a scene, and again, when you're there on set, like I said, I work 2 days for one line, so I'm only talking on camera for a tiny percentage of my time there. Most of the time I'm a glorified extra because I'm still cast as a cast member. I am not an extra, but you have to act like an extra in a lot of things when you are filming one big scene in a big environment that I have a part in, but I'm also in the background of a lot of. So there was a lot of times where I was just kind of there and able to witness these people work. I tell you what, this group of actors did so much improvisation. They would do let's say they're rolling a take and they're doing 1 page worth of dialogue. The director won't yell cut after that page of dialogue. They'll keep going for an equivalent of 2 more pages of dialogue, just off the cuff, building on whatever was written there and just going for it. And I have a feeling, just given that kind of structure of show and style of the way they film it, kind of that mockumentary type of thing, kind of like The Office, I have a feeling that a lot of that improv is used at the end of the day in the editing room, because they would just go and go and go. And watching them work, you watch it on TV and it looks so effortless, but you watch them in person and you're like, wow, these people really have honed their craft and know exactly what they're doing. Do you remember where the school was? Yes. I said earlier it was in the San Fernando Valley, but now that I've pulled up the call sheet, I'm seeing that it was at Portola Middle School at 18720 Lynette Street in Tarzana, California. So yeah, it was a middle school, and this call sheet is on a Wednesday. So the 2 days I shot there were active school days. And I remember a couple of times when Transpo or security would escort the actors on and off the set. The main set is the gymnasium, but the trailers and crafty and all that is not in the gymnasium. It's outside the school. So security would have to kind of escort us in between the two, and they would have the real students of the school kind of cordoned off, and we would walk down the pathway with real students on either side of us kind of watching. And I don't know what they were told or if they knew what it was, but it was just kind of a weird experience. It was cool though. Anything to promote right now? Thank you for asking. I've been an actor and a content creator ever since. I still live in LA. Right now I have a popular YouTube channel called Trilogy Media, where I make true crime content, documentaries. I hunt down and confront scammers and try to help victims of cyber fraud, and a lot of content there. And you can find me on Trilogy Media on YouTube, or we have a streaming platform called trilogyplus.com with a lot of original content as well. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Cheers.
Yay!
There's so much
Okay, I have so many
information
thoughts.
there.
Number one, how well spoken. Wow.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
yeah.
So much information usually, and I think, Ashton, maybe not, but I'm pretty positive that you might have edited that because I can just, not in a bad way, just things really seem to flow. Usually when they're on the longer side, people are rambling a little bit, saying ums and ahs and pausing and stuff, and I really appreciate, and I would have taken the ums and ahs as well, you know me, but I could just tell that it was just everything was so succinct and so informative in every second to me counted. So I appreciate that. And I love that. And then secondly, I can't remember who was the last person that we heard about Adam Scott, because it seems like in the last couple of episodes when we've talked to guest stars that have worked with him, he is now being talked about so kindly. Not that he wasn't before, but in the previous season, his first or second season, I think we're in season 4 now. So, and I think he started in 2.5, something like this, right? Or maybe 3. I don't know.
Something like that.
Okay, regardless, in the beginning, people were kind of saying that he was super intense, and which is not a bad thing. He was just a really hard worker, very focused on the work and the piece and doing the job. Kind, but these last couple of episodes that I've heard from people are always talking about how friendly he was and how nice and welcoming he was. And I just wonder if that is, maybe him getting more comfortable being on set with these people and feeling like he is now the lead. Well, he always was, but feeling like he's now the mother father figure, introducing people into the family. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's really nice to hear that kind of trajectory of how he, and it might be just how he came off to certain people. You never know, but I don't know. I just kind of have this feeling that you're first the new kid at school, and now you are you're in it. So I think it's nice that he was so welcoming and introduced them to Amy Poehler. Oh my God, it's so nice.
Well, I was going to ask you too, because obviously you're more familiar with this show and these actors. But before this, my timeline for Adam Scott is he did Party Down. Before this, he had done a lot of roles where he was the asshole and stuff. like Step Brothers or things like that. And I know, at least for me, this was the first time that I saw Adam Scott regularly, really, in something where he was the lead man. Because I went back later and watched Party Down.
Sure.
But I'm wondering if that was part of it, of just going from being that kind of more journeyman actor, like so many of us are, where you're more of a gig worker and you're popping up here and there and being very focused, to then switching to a little bit more of being at ease. And like you were saying, being one of the people who's like part of the welcome wagon. When you're higher up on that call sheet, you're setting the standards of how people interact.
Yeah. He actually, you might know this, but he actually left Party Down for Parks.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, because, and it wasn't like vindictive or, well, that's the wrong word. It wasn't like a weird bad vibe. Party Down was like on hold or something. They were waiting to be picked up or something. And he was like, I got this gig and I have to take something that's going to go. And you know what I mean? So he did Parks instead. And then Party Down obviously is now revived and everything worked out, which is so amazing. But I listened to an interview with Adam Scott on Justin Long's podcast a while back, who we love.
Love Justin Long.
And both of them. And I think Adam Scott definitely said that he was feeling so out of his element when he came onto Parks because he wasn't as familiar with improv and he didn't know exactly how to like carry the scene with it, if that makes sense. So I think that he was a little bit scared and nervous at first. And he said that there was some comedy improv in Step Brothers a tiny bit, but mostly it was scripted. And there was a scene, I think, was it Step Brothers or I think it was Step Brothers, but it might have been another one. Where he was told to like improvise and like, but he was told kind of in advance that he might have to. So he like wrote stuff down on a piece of paper so he'd feel like more confident. Yeah. And I think in Parks, he might start to feel a little bit better about the improvising and about fucking around a little bit more and not having everything so scripted. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
So that also could have like lended itself to the familiarity kind of vibe, but that was so nice.
That was lovely. It did get me wondering, because when Ashton said that it was 2011 and he'd been here for like a year and a half, when did I don't know when you came to LA. When did you come to LA?
2014.
Okay, I was 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I was 14 because that's when I graduated in May, moved in September, and then had a month where I was a road manager for a college tour thing, a music tour, and then I came back and like started for reals. And then I think I started though at 321 in like 2016.
Okay.
I want to say.
I always forget that you were a sweet baby. When you're like, I graduated, I'm like,
what?
Oh.
Yes.
I'm so
oh my God. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I've actually never done this before, so would like to record this computer's screen.
Yeah.
Okay, open system settings. How do I like do it? Oh, Google Chrome, turn that on.
Keep all of this in.
Yes. What?
Oh, especially
It says I might have to quit and reopen. I'm not doing that. Let's see if it works. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. And then I do this. And then I do this. These are all the questions I asked. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Incredible.
So you can see this, right?
I love how you write, how you talk. You're perfect.
Oh, you're looking at my response?
Yes.
Ashton, I was so excited to get this. Okay. Yeah, so he read this already. This is the breakdown from Russia, Switzerland, China, Germany. And then this was the call sheet. I love this so much. I'm going to forward this to you. But this has the director, producers. Yes, Jorma Taccone is his pronunciation. It's okay. And then, Portola Middle School, Tarzana. I can't believe they did Tarzana. I feel like it should be, I don't know. They mostly did do North Hollywood, which is why I was kind of surprised because, Studio City is where the lot is. So it must have just been a location thing. But yeah, so he's got his name down here, Ashton Bingham in the cast, Jennifer Sue, who, spoiler alert, we also got some amazing voice memos from. And then Kelly Washington, who we also talked to, when they're reporting to location, when lunch is. Like, this is actually really beneficial to me as an actor. I just think it's really cool to see this.
Oh, yeah. I love a call sheet.
Me too. It looks so organized. So I'm going to... 7:30 a.m. was the call time. Crazy.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's nice.
So I'm going to go further into detail with that. That's cool. But okay, this is what he was talking about with the sides. So I'm sorry, you guys, if you're not watching this, because you can't. I don't know. I'm going to do my best to... That's a lie. I'm not going to do it. I was going to...
I'm not going to do my best. Not today.
I was like, I'm going to try to record.
Well, this is a really good bit you can do for social.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was going to try to record a clip of this, but I don't know when this is going to come out. And so I don't know when I want to feel like posting and looking at all the things.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Okay.
One day.
Anyway, so the point is, though, that I'm looking at the sides now for those of you who might not see it on social or whatever. We've got just Switzerland, like he was talking about. There's no Bulgaria, no anything else. France, no nothing. And I love this line was cut out. The only thing I'm going to be waving is your decapitated head on a stick in front of your whipping mother, which we'll get to. Oh, yeah, this wasn't in it. Miss Nope, is this even part of Model UN? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. The full might and wrath of the Danish infantry is bearing down on Lima as we speak. Our lions will destroy you, says Andy. All right, this is how you want to play it? You know, so I just think that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. I love script to scene stuff and seeing what gets changed and what it does. Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh, wait, there's this other line, too, which Switzerland has the line. I don't know where it went. Switzerland has the line of, as long as you quit derailing the conference, people are losing whatever, their hunger or are starving in Africa. And she's like, cry me a river. That was not China's line. So I think that's really cool.
Real quick, too, Holly, I love that says AFTRA scale. Not SAG-AFTRA scale, AFTRA scale.
Ooh.
So this was before the merger, which...
What?
I remember when that happened.
That's recent?
Yeah. I had a couple friends already in LA who were, I'm going to join SAG because I joined AFTRA and it's really easy for me to join because, like, there's not too much of, like, a pay difference, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because it was a much different animal where... my friends straight out of college were like, oh, yeah, I did background and now I'm in AFTRA. Or now I did this and now I'm in this. And then we had the merger happening. So it's really cool to see that, though, because that's pre my time in LA. That's pre me working in a
Thank you, Ashton.
non-right to work state.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Gave us so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on. Let me take off my headphones. I was really cold at first, and now that's fleece, and now I'm, like, sweating.
Aw.
Okay.
I'm surprisingly cozy today.
Good.
It's
It
nice.
could also be the rosé that I'm drinking, too.
I mean, maybe. I had
Okay.
I had a whiskey and this pumpkin cider, though, and I'm like...
feeling it. Okay.
I feel cozy.
Well, thank you so much, Ashton, for that. We have learned so much. I didn't know that SAG-AFTRA merger was that recent, so that's amazing. And I just loved hearing everything, so I'll definitely link all the YouTubes and all that stuff. So, okay.
Yay!
Moving on. Our dear Leslie is done with her promo, and we learned that Ben cut Leslie out of the treaty that they were building because he was sick of, quote, treading water, which, by the way, we didn't even talk about that. That was another kind of point that you made where she, like, uses that phrase, and... it's very dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene, oh my God, this scene is so incredible between them two. This is where he calls her obtuse and has this whole conversation where, like, the spy shot was great, the dialogue, the back and forth. Ben is like, I thought I could handle this, but I couldn't do it. And he does, we talked about this already. He makes a good point that she is kind of being selfish and she's not really thinking about what he needs as well. And I just think he's finally had it, and... it just sucks. It sucks. And like we talked about, she's acting like she can pick everything off like a buffet, but I don't think she actually can. I think she's fooling herself.
No, she absolutely can't. She doesn't. Well, one, because she doesn't really want this either. She wants her little elvish man, right?
I know.
She wants to be with him. And so even though in this moment it feels okay, this is also, I feel, Leslie's ideal situation romantically. Of being able to be a huge geek and having somebody not think your interests are super weird or niche or annoying. Because that's what she's met throughout most of her life, is that she's always been too much. So much of season 1 was about her being odd to men, right? And I think that if she actually really thought about it, she'd go, oh, no, I do want to smooch his face.
I know, and even smooch his face, and even critics, like, I know this doesn't really matter, but even critics in that first season were like, she's too positive, like, she's like, this doesn't work, this isn't a real human, and I'm sorry that you've never experienced that person before, okay, but shut up.
Hi, we're here, we're in these streets. Well, and it was one of those things, though, too, because it was coming around the same time as The Office, obviously. Where I thought it was really odd that we allowed the affable nitwit character for a man who just kind of stumbled his way around things, but was surprisingly good at business, right? Where there was
You mean Michael Scott?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we had that for The Office. And then we had a very competent, overly zealous, sometimes to a fault woman who was really good at her job, but lacked certain social graces or cues, or because of how aggressive she had to be in her job, took that kind of same stance in her actual life, that we didn't give that as much grace as we gave him.
That is so true.
And obviously there were growing pains for both shows. Season 1 of The Office is very different from how it moved forward. Same with season 1 of Parks. But I always thought that was a really weird comparison and a weird judgment call of...
Absolutely.
They're two sides of the same coin of two people who are
and it was totally
confident.
entrenched in the feminist patriarchy moment of it. Not feminist patriarchy, sorry, just patriarchy. Yeah. I totally get that. And I remember reading in Amy Poehler's book, Yes Please, not paid by that, but great book. She was saying, she was saying that there was so much fear on her end of like how closely she was going to be compared to him, to Michael Scott, to Steve Carell. And so she kind of, I don't know if she played it safe or like I can't remember what she like said about that, but she just said that was something that she really did think about a lot. And that's so true. It's so true. Yeah. She definitely was like way more qualified and better at her job, but still was just like seen as unrealistic, quote unquote, because she's too positive for government. Okay. But we know that critics don't mean anything. Like, look at it now. So, come on.
Facts.
Anyways. So she now is saying that she's been nothing but straightforward, which is true, but to a certain degree. But also straightforwardness / whatever this isn't working. So then she says that it only leaves her with one option. Like, Leslie, one option? Really? This is your one option? Declaring war on Peru? She is spiraling, much like we saw her in the last episode when she goes nuts after she sees Tweep and starts picturing Tweep and Ben's life together. And so she takes him on this crazy, road trip situation. She's just spiraling in true Leslie fashion. And it's sad.
It is. It really is. And I understand this is all played for comedy, but we get to such a weird place with them so quickly and so immediately.
Totally. Oh my God. And now Ben is meeting her at the crazy. Whereas before, I think he was like, we can't do this. I'm just going to step back. Stop.
Yeah.
And now they're both like, I'm going crazy. You're going crazy. And it just goes off the rails.
Absolutely.
All right. So now we are back at the office talking about Kris and Millie's relationship, if you are. And it's crazy. At first, I thought Anne was going to come in and say, like, I hate this. This is stupid, because she says it's wildly inappropriate. And then she's like, all right, I'm game. And I'm like, what? Now I'm siding with Jerry, where I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? I just want to go back to work.
I do think, though, that this is what gives Anne her closure finally.
That's true. That's really true.
She gets to say her piece and talk about what a fucking weirdo he was.
Yes.
And
oh
is.
My God.
And is.
Yeah, I think she sheds a lot of light, which we'll get to. But before we get there, Ron is meeting with Gary from Gary, Indiana. Love his blank and like boring stare. I love that. Gary is actually played by a guy actually named Gary, as another anecdote, first of all. Secondly, his first name is Gary Mugloffkin, I'm going to say, and he is actually the payroll accountant for Parks and Rec.
Aww.
He has been the payroll accountant and production assistant for many a show. Worst Week, Crossing Jordan, and I guess they had him make a cameo on Parks. That's super cool.
That's
Go Gary.
Precious. I love that. Good job, Gary.
I think there's been quite a few people on Parks especially, but also I think they said that in The Office too, where they would have like random ass people just like from the crew come in.
Just be on the show.
Especially if it's like a one-liner situation. But he did a great job. I wouldn't have, he looks like an actor to me. Yeah. There is a deleted scene here where they're interviewing another gal named Barb, and Tom is saying that she's going to have big shoes to fill because Tom was the first one to do this. And then he goes, particularly my size 6.5. And she shows him the shoes that she's wearing, and they have rabbits on them, and they're so cute. And Tom is like, ew, like, when's the last time you dazzled anyone? And she was like, I don't dazzle, I'm just Barb. And it was so precious. And, usually I record the scene and then talk to the person that did that scene, because I still think deleted scenes, especially if you're an actor, are important and you did the work. But I could not find her anywhere. She's not listed on IMDb, and usually they are. And I was like, what the heck? So I don't know where she is, but whoever played Barb, thank you.
She's in the Upside Down. This is our Stranger Things crossover.
Oh, that's real. She is in the Upside Down. Oh my God. All right. Well, then we've got Keith coming in, who is played by Kyle Mooney of SNL, 2013 to 22. A bunch of other stuff, too. Bob's Burgers, Zoolander 2, No Hard Feelings. He's written a lot of shorts.
Well,
so, yeah.
This was like his first thing, too.
Was it?
Yeah, because up until then, he had done a lot of shorts. He had done a lot of stuff on his own that he had been working on. But this is the first networky thing that he got to do. This was kind of the rest of the world's introduction to Kyle Mooney and that very specific Kyle Mooney type of character. Who's like, I'm pretty confident with no reason to be.
Yeah, and the deleted scenes had so much more of him doing this thing, like with different lines, different things, and they cut it down. But yeah, I didn't know that this was one of his first things. Yeah. That's cool.
He also, just fun fact, on SNL, I think he started out just kind of like accidentally on there. What was I reading about him? Not accidentally on there, but
like he was maybe involved in a different way kind of thing?
I think so. It was something like that, where it was like his start on SNL, actually, and I'll have to look more into that. Sorry, that's such like a half fact.
No, yeah. That's interesting. Okay, well, I can keep talking and you can look it up if you want to. But if not, then I'll just add it in next time. Later.
We can do this in post. It's just
whatever. All right, so now Leslie's doing exactly like we talked about what she did in the last episode, starting to spiral, steamroll, trying to change the plan to destroy Peru, which again is proving that she cannot handle this. And Switzerland is like, look, we're going to try to keep solving the food crisis because that's what we're here for. Yeah. I just love this line, which was not in the script from what I saw. It's time for you to nut up, Switzerland. I love that so much.
Love that line. Oh, scratch it. I was totally wrong about Kyle Mooney.
Oh, okay.
The article was like, interestingly, Kyle actually started as a featured player. As a featured player is the rest of that sentence.
What?
Which is like, yeah, that's how they all start.
Isn't that everybody?
As featured players or writers. My bad. Oh my gosh.
No, that's funny. That was very misleading journalism.
Man, this is why you read the whole article, kids. You don't start just with and actually it's just what happens.
And actually very rarely works for many people. Anyway. All right, well, Switzerland is played by Jennifer Sue. She has been in a lot of short films, it looks like, and I think she does dubs, actually, because things listed on her IMDb will say, like, English version voice and things like that. So I thought that was so cool and great to see. She's won a bunch of awards at festivals for a film called For Izzy, which is great. Congratulations.
Well done.
And Jennifer, well, I think she goes by Jenny, but she's listed, I believe, on IMDb as Jennifer. But Jenny sent in some voice memos. They were short and sweet, and here is the first one.
Parks and Rec was actually my very first audition with my first agents in LA, which is crazy beginner's luck. I went into Dorian Frankel's office, and I think they had all of us read France's sides. They weren't really sure for the smaller roles who was going to be reading what lines. So I think they just wanted to see what we would do. And I remember Dorian came into the lobby and made it very clear that she was looking for people to play it very serious, that she wanted it to be super small and you're a high school student and you're very serious about your work, which made total sense once we were on set because, you know, it's the classic, you're the straight person and everyone else in the cast is doing all the comedy work. So yeah, that's what I remember the most, that when Dorian came in and told us all to sort of keep it small.
I think that's great, and I love when a casting director tells you that kind of stuff, because I feel like Allison Jones did that for Jenna Fisher as well.
Yeah.
So
well, and
that's really cool.
Jenna Fisher and Allison Jones had a lot of the relationship that Ashton actually touched on too, of booking the room, of making a fan, right? Where, hey, this casting director brought me in multiple times.
Yeah.
So they liked me. And then with just that little tweak, that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. And I think it's really interesting to hear from both of them, you know, that the story lines up, that they were just given the same sides, and then they decided later who was going to read what. So that's really cool.
That's lovely.
All right, here's the second one.
Set was so fun. I mean, like I said, it was my first big job, and I was overwhelmed by how nice everyone was. The crew was so kind and really welcoming, and it was a really big thing. I mean, they rented out this whole school, and I remember the whole cafeteria was just filled with background. It was really intense. And Chris Pratt was really nice. I remember he introduced himself to everyone at the table, and Adam Scott came over to say hi, even though we didn't really work too much with him. And Amy Poehler is just really nice and so funny. It was amazing seeing her brain work and how quickly she would come up with alts. And I mean, she's just a genius.
I don't know how she does it.
Gosh, she's so sharp.
So sharp and so fast, and everybody says that. It's not like it's just a one-off. Like, literally everyone is like, I'm really not sure how she does this.
It's amazing.
And I was thinking, you know what, the last two must have had crazy budgets for extras, because End of the World was like, that whole warehouse was full of people. And I even said, like, can you imagine being an extra on that? Like, oh my God, how fun. And then this with all the extras. Nuts.
Very crazy. Oh,
wow.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, Jenny, for that. All right. And then here is the last one, which I asked her as well if she remembered where the high school was, and she didn't remember. So I was like, that's totally fine, whatever. And Ashton covered it. So thanks, both of you. All right. Here's the last one.
I don't have anything off the top of my head to promote. I think we're all kind of waiting for this strike to end, but feel free to follow me on Instagram at jenny.soo, JENNY.SOO, and hopefully I'll have some updates over there at some point. Thanks.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are still things that you can watch on her IMDb, so I will post /tag her and all the things, and you guys can follow her. But thank you, Jenny, for that information. I loved it, and I just love when people message back. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jenny and Ashton, for that. And then we've got, oh my gosh, this next crazy scene where Ben comes over and Leslie goes insane. Ben says to wave the white flag, and she says, I already read this from the script, but the only thing I'll be waving is your decapitated head on a stick in front of your weeping mother.
It's such a snap.
Did this remind you of any other show? Because I will tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of 30 Rock, on the plane where Tina Fey and Matt Damon are like stuck on the plane, and she's like, I'm gonna kill this guy, you'll have to go through him first. And it's like they both have this snap of like their attitudes. I was like, that's so funny that both Amy Poehler and Tina Fey have that, like, you know, moment where they're just go off the
that makes sense for them. I love that.
But it's great because it shows that in Tina Fey / Liz Lemon's case, it was like, okay, this brings out a really bad side in me. We should not do this anymore. And then, but Matt Damon literally pulls a gun, so that's you know,
Carol
Ben
was
just
a wild character. Just a side quest, a thing that we quote in our house all the time, because I love Ina Garten. I love Ina Garten. And so Logan constantly does you expected me to be like, Jeffrey? I'm not as strong as that guy. I think it's so perfect. Oh.
Yes, that Hamptons episode is so great. So oh my God. But yeah, for Amy Poehler, I think, or for Leslie, Adam Scott, or Ben, I should say, is like, whoa, this is, and I feel like Leslie is not like Liz Lemon, where Liz Lemon like immediately is like, okay, bye, that's stupid. Why? Nope, can't do this.
Shut it down.
Jinx. And Leslie's like has to come down from it. I think that she would have kept going with it if Ben like challenged her like further after that. You know what I mean?
Well, because the go-to Leslie, right? Which is also a Holly Constant face. Okay, I am so justified in this moment, and I need time to go, oh, maybe I'm not. That part's not
wrong.
you. It's when you
know what?
When you
I
see injustice, you do that.
No, but sometimes if I go too far, which isn't often, not like Leslie anyway, but sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I can try to see her side.
You're not a fly off the handle person, though.
I don't think so. I mean, no. I'm a build-up I think I'm more of like an Adam Scott or Ben. I keep saying Adam Scott, but I'm more of a Ben in this situation where like slowly but slowly. Yeah. And Leslie's just like, done.
I'm Jen.
Jen Barkley?
Yes. I'm like, well, I'm going to just do whatever I want forever, so okay.
Because I don't have children.
I don't have any of those. I'm going to wear a poncho in your house. It's disgusting here.
What is that noise? Children. Oh my God, I love that. Okay. All right. Back at the office, Tom and Ron are still talking about their replacements and that we won't find another Tom because they don't grow on trees. Tommy trees. Do you have anything before we move back to France / the Model UN fully destructing?
No.
Okay. Well, France is making a really solid statement about genetically modified crops, and which I think your superhero stance stands strong. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
Just saying. But it brings out a bad side in Ben, too. Now.
Grabbing the mic
from France. I wasn't finished. Oh, really? Then why am I holding the microphone? Oh my God, Ben. But also great. He's taking his confidence in the wrong direction now. But Denmark is now formally condemned, and the kids are like, oh my God, stop derailing this. China's the one that says that, and he is played by R. Eric Braun. He has an R in front of his name. Mm-hmm. And he's been a production assistant and AD on a billion things.
Oh, cool.
I haven't seen as much acting things. His last acting thing was in 2013, so I think he's more on the crew side now, which is great.
Nice.
And then Leslie has to retaliate and wants everyone to leave this international gang of thugs, as she calls it, and the moon joins the coalition, which we love. I do have a fun fact. You know how she slams her shoe on the podium?
Mm-hmm.
That was based off of a real incident that happened at the UN. I know! Peace, really? So I'm going to just read all of this because... whatever. But she's emulating the Soviet premier Nikita Khrushchev, I want to say. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But this was in 1960, and it was infamous. It was everywhere when it happened. On his last full day in New York City for the 1960 Assembly meeting, Soviet premier Nikita Khrushchev took offense to the words of a delegate from the Philippines who claimed that Eastern Europe had been deprived of political and civil rights and had effectively been swallowed up by the Soviet Union. And what happened next has been debated, but William Taubman, who is the author of, he did like a biography on this Soviet guy, writes that after banging a table with both his fists, then he took off his right shoe, a loafer or a sandal. I don't know why that matters, but it's in here.
I love the idea of him wearing sandals to the UN.
Apparently he hated tying laces, according to his son. This research, I don't know. Anyway, he waved it around, he waved the shoe around, and he banged it on the table until everyone in the hall was watching and buzzing around. And afterward, he was said to have remarked, "It was such fun. The UN is sort of a parliament, where the minority has to make itself known one way or another. We're in the minority for the time being, but not for long." Okay. The incident is so often associated with the United Nations and the General Assembly that the most frequent question asked of the UN tour guides is, where was Khrushchev sitting when he pounded his shoe? Wow. Crazy that was based off a true story.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Man, global history is something that I am seriously lacking in my education.
Honestly, it's so much information, to be completely honest. And I just, unless you're reading history books and kind of talking about it a lot, I feel like it's not as well known, which is kind of sad, I suppose. But I don't know how much more you're supposed to like cram into kids' minds in high schools and stuff. So
I feel like we should make an effort. Well, in Texas too. This isn't an excuse. This is partially an explanation. But in Texas, we did so much Texas history specifically. We spent so much time talking about our own state. I had to do a Pledge of Allegiance to the state of Texas. You know, like, honor the Texas flag. I pledge its allegiance to thee, Texas one and indivisible. They would have us do that right after, like, the morning announcements. It was wild.
It's its own country.
Because it was, right? So we spent so much time on Texas. And then even when I went to university, I was in another Texas history class at my first university. And I feel like I should do a lot more research on global history because it's such a big blank space.
Yeah. Wow.
It makes me feel real
people
dumb.
People say that Texas... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it makes me feel real dumb. I'm just like, I should know more things.
I should look into that.
I should know
Honestly, half of my knowledge on a lot of stuff is because I researched from this podcast.
That's amazing, though.
What are you going to do, you know? But it is interesting. Even like musicians I know that are from Texas say that Texas has its own music scene. Like you can just make a living there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even really need to leave. So I feel like Texas has its own, I mean, you can expand obviously, but it has its own like
It's very
universe.
insular.
Yeah.
Or at least it can feel that way.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we are back at this weird conference talking about Millie. And we're getting even more inappropriate. I wrote, we never find out really how the cheeriness relates to the broken hot tub because she says that you were cheery. And then she's like, remember that time we went to the hot tub? I'm assuming that it was broken and then he made the best out of it by eating off of her body. But anyway, I just love Donna's face. Like, and then she's eating popcorn and Jerry's hilarious. Oh my God.
It's great. That scene goes on to do one of my favorite bits too, of just talking about how terrible jogging is.
But at what cost?
What cost? My note in my notes was fucking jogging.
I hate jogging. Jogging's the best. Oh my God. It's awful. Horrible. Oh, Kris. Yes, we will get to that scene too.
Oh, sorry. I keep moving in the timeline.
No. It flips back and forth so frequently. So I'm just being, myself and going like line by line, basically. Okay, but we're back at the model UN, and Denmark and Peru are now expelled, aka Ben and Leslie are now kaput. They cannot be in it because they ruined the club. Everyone left, and it's terrible. I actually really love how honest, what's her name's character is being so in it, like, because you guys suck. I love that line. Like, look around, everybody left, and it sucks. And then Andy is dumb and says, like, I learned so much today.
It's so sweet.
When he literally learned nothing.
Yeah. So much. Did you, buddy? Did you?
But if that ends up meaning something, I'm going to have more lions than everyone. And then this is a really sweet scene when April and Leslie are talking by the lockers, which is so cute. April saying, like, you should talk to Ben because when Ben gets upset, he becomes a really bad roommate, which I hold qualm with because April and Andy are terrible roommates.
Oh, yeah. Horrible. But, I mean, that's also April and Andy of being very, very self-focused. We're who we are unabashedly, but also accommodate us.
Yeah. You haven't heard, I don't think, in the last couple... No, obviously. I don't know why I said I don't think. But in the last 2 episodes... No. Whenever it was, since the beginning when Ben moved in with Andy and April, I have been so mad at Ben for living with them because he complains. He's like mad about the Halloween party not being told to him, all these things. And I'm just like, you can move.
Yeah.
You have enough money.
Leave.
And Maddie made the good point that like maybe he's staying there because like him and Leslie broke up. So like this is his only thing where he can like be around people. And like that makes total sense to a degree. But I like my personal like qualm is just like, you have the money. You can make your own decisions. If you're going to be working on a fucking Friday night or whatever the hell, Thursday night, like, then go be in a space where you can do that, buddy. Like, you know who they are.
Yeah.
And there were some deleted scenes, again, not canon, but there were some deleted scenes where Ben was like, I just feel like, he didn't say this verbatim, but he was basically like, I just feel like I could help them. I feel like I could fix them kind of thing. And like that kind of vibe. And so it's on Ben too, which is why I think I have this anger. Because I'm like, no.
Justified.
Anyhow. So we take sadness baths, which I think is really lovely because I love a sadness bath.
I love a sadness bath.
I love a happy bath too, but a sadness bath is
It hits
fire.
different. It hits different. Oh,
It's
man.
different, baby. Oh my God. All right. So now this is back at the office where Kris is talking about the jogging and all
There
that
we
shit.
go. Yeah. Fuck jogging.
Kris is my thing too. I don't like this, but I think this is a very, I hate to gender it, but I feel like this is a very male thing. Kris was like, so you're saying I'm intimidating? And Anne's like, no. You're like, not exactly. That is not what? I feel like that's every man's response, but you're not intimidating. You're just like annoying. But Anne makes a great point where she's like, you got annoyed dating me because you were dating yourself because you turned me into you so that you would have like more fun in the thing. And like, to be like, I guess fair on both sides, Anne wasn't as self-possessed as she's saying she was now. So maybe she was, maybe being molded like clay a tiny bit. But, now she's just saying like, let Millie be herself. Don't be so intense. And it'll be fine.
We see Anne go through such a social tofu journey as well, where she's constantly just formed by who she's with.
Yes. There's a whole episode about it.
To the point of like wearing cowboy attire and stuff like that. And so that kind of self-awareness and agency is huge for her.
Mm-hmm. That's
massive.
so true. Yeah, and I think you're right. That's a great point that she really did get some closure that I don't think that she's gotten previously. Yeah. But Donna's loving this. This is where she's got her feet up with the popcorn. I didn't know what a tantric workshop was. Did you?
Yes.
So for those of you that don't know, it's basically a form of yoga, which includes boundaries, sensuality, connection, moving the sexual energy. And it says, it's so funny, in one of the articles I read, it says when the key activity has been completed, the teacher will slowly bring the energy towards relaxation. And I was like, the key activity? You mean climax, maybe?
What is it?
What does the key activity mean? But it says that there's a couple of different things: the massage, eye gazing, feeling the heart of your partner, breathing techniques, conscious hugging, stimulating the five senses, blah, 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 blah. Have you ever done one?
A workshop? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
This is not my speed. I'll be very frank.
Okay.
I
don't think it's Anne's speed either.
No.
Again, I think Kris just was like, sure. It does sound like they had a lot of sexy times.
So the first time I heard about this stuff, though, was in regard to Sting and the tantric sex he and his wife have that would last supposedly 7 hours or something, which I was like, that's too long. That's
oh my God.
That's way
How did you
too
hear about that with
long.
Sting? Was it on the news or something?
It was like he talked about it in an interview or something ages ago, where he was just like,
that is great.
And
Oh my
talked about
God.
how healthy tantric sex is, which I'm sure it is. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's that. Yeah. All right. Okay, so now we're at Andy and April and Leslie and Ben being in their little classroom trying to make amends. Andy has his own version of Camp David with his friend David. For those of you who don't know, Camp David is real. Not Andy's version, although it's real to him. But again, I know most people know what this is, but I'm just going to say it anyways. Camp David is a 125-acre country retreat for the President of the United States. And I did a little time, not a deep dive really, but it received its present name in 1953 from President Dwight D. Eisenhower in honor of his father and his grandson, both named David.
Yeah, previous presidents referred to it as Shangri-La.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Did you just know that off the top of your head?
No, I looked that up too. I did my due diligence, baby.
Yes, bitch! Yes. Did they go to Camp David and Veep? Did you watch that?
I don't know.
Because I feel like there was an episode, I don't know if it was Camp David, or maybe it was. There was an episode, because it's not just for presidents. It says it's also for government agents, like high official government agents. So it could have been for a Veep too. But there was one where she meets with the oh shoot, I forgot what country it was, but it was like snowing, and her daughter and her girlfriend comes, but I just can't remember where that was. I wonder if that was Camp David.
I've only watched a few episodes of Veep. I really should watch more of it because I love Julia.
I know. I think you would love it. It gets wild by the end.
Sweet.
She's phenomenal. Her physical comedy.
Ugh.
She's
so good.
It's gnarly. So good. And what's his name? Tony Hale. That whole cast is stellar. Anyway, it was billed for, what did I say? Oh, it was called by the Works Progress Administration, if anyone cares, was like the official legislation of why they built this. So that's what that's called. But so they're talking, and this is such an important scene and it's really special and sweet, but it still leaves me wanting, because she says, it's very sweet. She says, I just need you to be in my life. You're too important to me, which like is totally valid. And then we get to the crux of our episode, which is the treaty between them two, where she makes a compromise. They get to have a fun conversation once a day for 5 minutes at work to keep it boundaries. But even that, I'm just like, nope.
That's not enough.
Can't do it. Nope. 5 minutes? No. Also, like this next line, it just immediately makes me go, this isn't going to work, because Ben's like, what are we going to do with those kids? They really were counting on us. And she was, and he was like, or no, she said that. And he's like, I know what I would want. And then she says, how are we going to make Kathy Ireland do naked aerobics? And everything is flirty.
Yeah.
Again. And I'm just like, nope, not going to work. Did you know who Kathy Ireland was?
Yes.
I didn't know. I felt bad.
That's okay.
She's beautiful.
She's
she was
stunning.
on 13 consecutive Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues,
Yeah.
and she's a model, writer, and fashion designer.
I think on 30 Rock, they make references to Kathy Ireland as well. Alec Baldwin's character, I think, does.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But yeah, personal stance over here. When people are like, it's so important to me to be friends with my ex. Is it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Why?
I've never understood that one of like, but so many of the people I've dated are like my best friend. I'm like, they're not.
Not anymore.
They're not. Yeah, they're not anymore. And I've never
Can't relate to that. That's interesting.
I've never understood that idea of. I think it's great if you can be amicable with an ex and friendly.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if you can have a clean, nice moment.
Yeah, but I don't
Doesn't
understand
always happen.
people
That's
who are
even
like,
lucky.
obviously here with Leslie and Ben, they need to be in each other's lives because one, they didn't end because there was like some conflict aside from the job, right? This is clearly because they still want to be together. In real life, when people are like, it's so important for me that we remain friends. Why? What we were doing is not what friends do.
Yeah, and also like, is that, I don't know, again, I can't relate, so I don't want to like shame anybody, but is that like a way of saying like, I'm not over you, so I just need to talk to you in some way, shape, or form? Or do you feel like it's a failure that you broke up, so now you need to make sure that you're on good terms? I don't know. Interesting.
Like, good for you if you and your ex are genuinely friends and friendly. That's great. Well, wonderful for you. Love that journey.
I mean, truly. But I don't think it should be a goal.
No.
Like, it shouldn't be like important to you.
I've just known a lot of girls who are like, it's so important to me that we remain really close friends. No.
Okay.
But you weren't before you dated them. That's weird.
Yeah.
Tangent.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, again, to each their own, different strokes. Yeah. But for Leslie and Ben specifically, the way they talk, I mean, yes, there's flirtiness, but like you were saying before, and like we've demonstrated this whole entire episode, they are friends. They are like BFFs, and I think they were friends even before. Well, I mean, they hated each other at first, obviously, but then once they became friends, they were like, friendship, and then romanticalness happened. And so, I mean, yeah, I just, it's not going to work, and which we'll see in the next episode, which is the best episode. It's so cute. But yeah, it's just like, it goes, and also, like you said, they have to be in each other's lives, not because also that they broke up for a specific reason, and it's not like, I hate you kind of thing, but also because they have to see each other at work. And so like, if they don't keep some sort of like friendliness happening, it's going to
And
go
that's
south.
another factor that I can understand that with people of like, if we have the same workplace environment, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Our best friends are married.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Write in. If you were friends with your ex, tell me your reasoning. We will not judge you. No shame.
No.
There's judgment now, but once I hear from you, I will not judge you.
But full boy band over here. Tell me why.
Tell me why. I just sang that today. Same wavelength.
Synchronicity
video.
constant.
I made a TikTok. You'll have to see. And I said that.
I'm very excited.
Anyways, okay. All right. We're almost done here. Let's see. Ron finally comes clean, says he saw Tom spraying these samples and so just come back. And it's really cute. I like this come on back, Tommy. It's really precious, I feel, on a friendly note. And Ron's like, it's embarrassing. I can't go backwards. I was supposed to be this CEO,
Yeah.
And Ron has to say that he is begging. And Tom, do you really not know Ron to think that you could get away with taking advantage of this? What?
It's such an awkward moment. I love that little run of just his hands at his
Oh my God, Nick Offerman's fast walk thing.
It's so good
God.
with his little scrunched up face. Oh.
It's so good. That's crazy. And then Tom finally takes his job back with no begging or nothing. He's just like, welcome back, whatever. It has to be in front of everybody. And at first I was wondering, why are they all there? Because it seems kind of late. I don't know what's going on. But there was a deleted scene here where they're wrapping up from work, I guess. Oh. And Kris comes in to tell Ann, Donna, and Jerry that Millie did finally return his call and that they did talk about it. And she was overwhelmed. So he let her know that she can be herself and he loves her personality and to just... I'll go with the flow a little bit more. And then Ann says another sarcastic thing. And I'm glad they cut this because this makes me... frustrated. He goes, the sarcastic thing, it went from charming to a little grating, but it's great. And I was like,
sir,
stop saying. You're grating,
Yes. So are you. Oof.
But I'm glad they had, not glad, it wasn't necessary, but they had that deleted scene where everything's good. Yeah. For the time being. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so now they're back taking the kids to City Hall and trying to fix the club, letting them sit in the city council chamber, which is so cute. Also, side note, I don't know if you noticed this. I wouldn't have noticed it if I wasn't on IMDb, but France says that her name is Cassidy. She's like, my name is Cassidy. But when she comes back in Pocahontas, her name is Allison.
Oh.
It said on IMDb, it says her name is Allison. And I was like, I'm going to have to do that because I don't know if IMDb is wrong or if, I don't know. I thought it was Lauren. Why did I think it was Lauren? I think that's because Pawnee Rangers had a Lauren in it.
Maybe.
So I was getting those conflated. But yeah, interesting. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm just going to call her France from now on.
Yeah.
Anyway, they say they're going to have a statewide model UN. They're not going to be there. Leslie kind of almost ropes it back. And then Ben is like, no, we can't be there.
Yeah.
Stop it. They get pizza and they talk. And then she has this little voiceover moment where she's like, that's all there is really is passion. And it's so true. And it leaves the audience just wanting and sad and heartbroken.
But sealing it off with her Denmark battle cry.
Oh my God. I love that so much. I should have researched if that was really I'm sure it was.
I'm sure,
they had to have.
It's so good.
So good. The tag is Leslie stumbling through, welcoming Tom Haverford back to the office. He makes all the ladies. I'm not going to say that. I just love. I don't know. I almost feel like this. It was probably written in some way, but I just like that she kind of puts her spin on it, and I'm sure she improvised a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry also has to move now, which is really sad.
I do love that it's one of the few moments where he stands up for himself as opposed to sure,
right,
this is fine, where he's like, this is ridiculous.
This is actually insane. And I feel like that, I know that office is small, but I really feel like they could have figured something out.
Yeah, they could have. It's just cruel.
Oh my God.
It's okay. He's married to Christy Brinkley. It's fine. It's fine.
That's all we have to remember.
That's all we need.
Oh my God. Well, that was the treaty.
Yay!
Do you have any other notes or anything else that you would like to share before we head off?
Oh my gosh, I did want to bring up, in case you want to use something for social, because we're still in this strike period, right, where we can't share any of this. But something that is really great is an alumnus of this particular show that you talk about all the time just sold out Radio City Music Hall with the first improvised show that's going to be there, Ben Schwartz.
Oh my God!
Good New York kid sold out Radio City Music Hall. Doing Ben Schwartz and Friends, doing long-form improv. Who'd have thunk?
Incredible. Suck it to the people that say you'll never make money doing improv.
Oh, man. The next time you're in LA, we have to go see one of his shows. If he does another one at Largo, it's so fun. And because you are such a good improviser and such a student of improv, too, I think you would just adore it.
I think that would be so fun. I gotta finish. I think I have like 3 or 2 more episodes to watch of Middleditch and Schwartz, which is so good.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing. I saw that he was still on tour. I can't remember which. I don't know if he's. Oh, shoot. I forgot. I don't know. He posted something about where he was going to be, and it seemed to be like somewhere that I could go, but it wasn't like in Nashville.
Yeah.
But I would love him to do. Has he done like a national tour?
Well,
like,
so that's basically what he's been doing, is he's been going on this big epic tour, not only around the country, but what made it international was he also did some shows in England. Which, because of my Ben Schwartz love, when I went to London, people were like, are you going to see Ben Schwartz? Because it was like a week after I was going to be there. But yeah, so he's been doing this big epic tour, going across the country doing this. My hope before the strike and everything was that meant we were going to get new specials like what you were watching on Netflix. Don't know if that's the case since,
this is airing after the strike, so you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get something.
We're gonna I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're gonna have such a hard time transitioning back. I feel we're like that one show. Oh,
that one show with the thing with the people, and there's the guy. But yeah, it's like I was hoping that he had like camera crews with him on tour, so we could get another kind of Middleditch and Schwartz-esque long form improv special. Because I love that on Netflix. I watch that at least like once a month.
Yeah. Ugh. I think that is so great. And I think that it's really showing people that improv is like real and doesn't always have to be cringy.
So
especially
true.
long form. I feel like Whose Line really made short form games and like theater games kind of fun and showed that to the world. But I don't think people understand how incredibly difficult and intricate and like just insane long form is, and to tie it back and how sharp you have to be. I really wish remember, or I don't know if you remember this, but the only reason I know it is because I took classes at iOS and people were talking about it, but do you remember that Bravo did with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey and a bunch of SNL people did the Ass Cat?
Yeah,
I don't know why that's not on. Maybe people didn't watch it as much or something. But I loved watching that. That was fun too.
I loved going to Ass Cat. That was so fun.
You said what?
I loved going to that show. It was magical.
I wonder if they're still doing anything.
I don't know if they are. I think they're done.
I know Mel Cowan, who plays the red-faced man on Parks, actually, who has glasses and like a balder head. He still does improv at UCB. I can't remember. Shoot, I forgot. I'll have to post it. But he, I see him posting about him being in there. And I think a lot of people are actually doing... At least I think I saw a lot of people actually from Parks, because they're all improv people, are doing improv stuff like as a benefit. I think so. That's kind of cool too.
That's very cool.
But I'll have to definitely look up Ben Schwartz if he's coming like anywhere near, or if he's like that's over.
It's such a good show. We've seen him live twice doing the long form shows. Holly and I are recording this on September 23rd. So
thank you for dating.
If you need to, or not if you need to, if you want some other background on this, a really great article in Time Out Magazine just came out with an interview with Ben Schwartz talking about his background in improv, talking about how Time Out was one of the first things that like showcased him too as a comic and as an improviser. So it's this beautiful kind of full circle moment. But a really, really great interview about being in improv and the magic of long form when it works. So if you're into that kind of comedy, which if you're watching Parks and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are, it's a really, really great read.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll definitely have to look that up. I'd be interested.
Yay.
Oh my God. So fun. Thank you for mentioning that. When is he playing Radio City?
Tonight.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I think it's tonight. Sorry?
I said break a leg, Ben Schwartz.
I know. I hope he does so great. I just adore him. He is always...
I know. Also, doing it with two people, dude, like the Middleton Schwartz thing, two people is nuts.
That's nuts. The Ben Schwartz and Friends is 3 other actors with him.
Okay.
But yeah, it's wild. It's wild stuff.
Wild.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, I think it might be tonight. So that's really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Sonic 3 or something?
Yeah.
Again, September 23rd, 2023.
Yeah. Everything could change. Who knows? The writers are still negotiating.
I know. I am interested. Well, we can talk about this off mic. It's probably boring. Or talk about it on the next Strike Pod. But yeah, I am interested to see what's going to happen because it was happening negotiating. So I don't know.
We'll see.
Anyhow. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Kris, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This was so fun. You'll definitely be coming back if you want to.
I do.
Okay, yay. All right. Thank you, Madi, for sending in the summary, Ashton for sending in that voice memo, and all the amazing materials that you sent. I will definitely keep those in my inbox. And then Jenny Sue for sending in, I was going to say Spank Bank. I don't know why that came in my head, and that's why I said,
oh, man, I got these great scripts. Ooh.
Will not be a spank. Jenny Sue, I'm sorry I interrupted your thank you by saying that. Thank you, Jenny Sue, for that. Yeah, I think that's all the people I have to say thank you to. So we'll see you next time for our amazing smallest park. Oh my God, can't wait. Finally, we have reached the apex of where we have been wanting to go for such a long time. Okay, guys. Thank you so much and have a wonderful week. And yeah, that's it. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You can say bye too, Kris.
Bye. I did like a sad little bye.
Bye. Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.